That way I could put the reels in, on my page and share it, with our people. So
Okay. Um, you know what?
so tell me a little bit about your show and I can cut some.
One. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Writers Woman's Cave thing. You know something? I went all the way back to before 2019 with that one. I did. All the way back to before 20 with the Writers Woman. Yeah. Ooh. I've gained some weight and aged in the face a little bit since then. Oh, wait, I shouldn't point that out. My bad. Oops. Anyway, yeah, you're here for the And I Thought Ladies podcast. Because remember, in 2021, I think it was, or 2022, I decided, you know what, I should name it, the actual name of the podcast. Like, because we named the podcast the And I Thought podcast. And then we were like, welcome to the Woman's Cave. That didn't work out well because people were looking for something completely different. They were like, where are you? And I was like, how did you not know it was And I Thought? And then they looked at me just like this. And I never understood what was going on until one day it hit me. I should say the name of the podcast. This is the And I Thought podcast. Ooh, and it was somber like too. Oh, no, 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 no. Anyway, I'm Winona, and I'm one half of the And I Thought Ladies. Go figure, the And I Thought Ladies podcast, and I thought the And I Thought Ladies. Woo, we are really original with our naming here.
Yes.
Our characters are better in our books. I swear to you, I promise. I promise we have really cool names, which is funny because, we write poetry, mentioning books. Oh, I'm about to do a segue, and I don't even segue. I'm feeling awfully professional today. Segue. You saw how the professional demeanor settled in. Even the lines in the cheeks settled in, like maturity has arrived. Segue. We wrote books, and those books are And I Thought Divorce Was Bad, And I Thought Being Grown Up Was Easy, In Only I Were Me, a memoir in verse, Foreign Coffee, Widow's Web, and Widow's Deck. You recognize that those are 6, although I'm missing a book because there's 7. But that's okay. When you go to the website, you'll figure it out. You'll find the book. It's kind of like that whole, Woman's Cave And I Thought thing. I dropped the work on you. Those are our audio books, not our actual books. And if you want to find the rest of our 17 books, because you're missing 10, again, work on you. You can go to www.andithoughladies.com. And no, I am not doing it like I normally do it, like a car salesman. I'm not even going to do the shtick where I sign the whole thing out in sign language because I don't feel like it. It's snowing outside and I have a whole packet of Oreos to eat next to my wood fire in the fireplace. So y'all aren't getting any special effects today. But you are getting an awesome guest. Hello, wonderful guest. Wonderful guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello. My name is Paulette Henson. I'm the CEO and founder of BWA Magazine. Nice to be here.
Nice. Does BWA stand for something?
It stands
Because I
for
was about to say Black
Women
Women with
Authors.
Attitude, and I'm hoping not.
The Black Women Authors, yes, that's what it stands for. And so we highlight and amplify Black women voices as well as men. And so we do have our Black Men Author magazine as well. And so I'm super excited to be on your show to talk about what BWA has in store for everyone.
Ooh, Black women authors. Okay,
Yes,
there is no
yes,
shade here, so I'm gonna just go ahead and jump in and be so narcissistic because I am the narcissist of the group. So
please.
I'm a Black woman. Okay, I'm a Black young lady. Even though I'm claiming the lines here, I'm gonna say young lady.
Yes,
And you have a Black woman magazine. Would you make an exception and put a young lady in there?
absolutely. Absolutely. We are a growing culture. We have a Facebook group of almost 15,000 followers, where you can go there, you can promote your book, you can connect with other authors and get some good writing tips. We also just launched our website, which is blackwomenauthors.net. There you can read some articles. You can uh, learn how to be on the website as well as in our magazine. We have author spotlights and features and It's a beautiful place for people to go to not only appear in our magazine and on our website, but to get resources. We provide websites and book trailers and covers and marketing, to help you to promote your book and, uh, to kind of break that monotony of, being a self-published author and promoting yourself and your brand. And so we specialize in coaching authors. I personally do a lot of the coaching with authors and entrepreneurs in developing their brand, uh, educating them on your book. Your book is your business. Your book is a product of your brand and what you need to do to get your brand out there and promote yourself.
It's always great to have a helping hand when you first start out in self-publishing. It's always great to have a helping hand with every book. But
Absolutely.
before we started talking, before we hit the record button, you had mentioned you had some experience doing this. You don't look like you have much experience doing this because you're so young in the face.
Oh, thank
But you
you.
mentioned that you had experience doing this. So can you tell us a bit about the experience that you've had and what you've learned and how you're bringing that to the table for the authors out there?
Hmm. So I will speak candidly. I do have a ton of experience. I have 3 degrees in business administration, including a master's degree in adult education. And along with that, I have 40 years of administration on a government level as I worked, a government job for 30 years. But I started my first business, not to date myself, but back in 1980, 83. And I developed a retail clothing business. At that time in 82, I was also a cosmetologist. I've owned a salon for about maybe 20 years in the 90s. And so with those experiences, having a retail business, traveling, doing pop-ups and events, I learned a great deal of information on women in business, being an entrepreneur. I learned a lot of lessons. One of which, not everything will work. Sometimes you have to go back to the drawing board. A lot of times you have to go back to the drawing board. You have to repurpose your business and you have to repurpose it in today's time. And so a lot of times people will start business ventures and not realizing that the first 1 to 3 years you are pouring into your business. And so you may not see a profit, you may not see even a break even because you're pouring into, you're building your business and you're building that foundation. And so that is when sometimes people will drop off because they feel that, hey, I'm not making any money, I'm doing all this work and I'm not seeing anything in return. But you are seeing progress. If you see progress, and maybe it doesn't equate to dollars, but you see progress in your momentum, you see progress in the people that you're connecting with, your audience or your niche market. If you see those starting to rise, then you are moving in a direction. Now, going back to the drawing board, if you're marketing, you want to look at who are you marketing to? Who is your niche market? And how do you connect with them? How do you speak their language so that they can connect with you? And so a lot of that over time, it's evolved. when I go back to when I first started business with my retail company, we were designing our own clothes. We were, working with vendors to purchase items. And then we had seamstress to sew those items, and then we had to then go out and sell the items. And so the internet was there, but not like today. And so we were still passing out business cards. We were going door to door to different businesses and people, attending events and trying to get our name out there. Now, today, the advantage that we have is that we have a viable internet. We have cell phones that we can record shorts and reels and record content. We can video a lot of things, and we can put ourselves out there on a global stand. And so that's our advantage versus, the old school way where you had to pitch yourself to everyone. And so I think that a lot of the tools that I have learned is one to be, as tech savvy as I can, because technology is constantly evolving. With BWA, of course, we have a magazine. We have now our digital magazine, which we sell on our website. Again, it's blackwomenauthors.net. But we also we have a G Squad that helps our authors and our entrepreneurs with their technology concerns. You want to build your brand, you want to learn about SEO, which is search engine optimization. A lot of people don't understand that that is how people find you. How your description of your business, how your book is described. There's certain key words. Your books, how your books are described. Those are the GPS and how people find you on the web. And so you have to understand what those tags mean, what those keywords mean, and how to describe yourself properly so that people can find you.
Thank you first of all for bringing up the SEOs, because that is real hard when you go to look up an author and then they're like on page 17, because you're not going to make it to page 17 of Google.
Right.
Maybe
Absolutely.
page 3 if you're lucky.
Exactly.
So it's really
Exactly.
important to get those keywords out there and make sure that it is consistent.
Exactly. And
Just for being found.
you bring up a good point, because especially on Google, when you talk about how you're going to be placed, Google is alphabetized, right? So if your business name starts with an A, and
Like,
maybe
and I thought,
absolutely, there's a good chance that you're going to be at the top of a list because it starts with an A. So you have to be strategic in how you name your business or your brand. I want to say when I think about what I've learned, again, technology is key. You can use some of those older principles in business, but you also have to have that technology that goes with it so that you are reachable, and that your business can be found by the people that you want to see you.
so follow-up question on the you've learned a lot. I also noticed you said retail, and then there were some businesses in between that to coming to uh, marketing for books and owning a magazine. My,
Yes,
you are all over the board, but I
it
feel
was
I
all
feel
over.
that
Yes,
you are bringing a lot of skills to this marketing side of writing. So where's the
yes.
overlap here? What skills have you dragged with you through the years that apply to this section of your life?
Wow. So skills that I have dragged with me or brought along the way, basically what led to BWA was one is I've always loved to write. I've always journaled for years. I've been journaling for years, and I came to a point in my life where I felt like I wanted to write my story, and I wanted to write um, a story that, of an experience that I had. But then once I wrote that story and I appeared on podcast and I talked about it, I realized that I needed to do something because there wasn't a lot of opportunity for us, to really promote ourselves and to see ourselves in a light where we can feel proud. People are doing podcasts and that's great. However, I wanted to take it a step further. So I wanted to be that pillar, that island in an ocean of books, because when you think about the numbers of people that write books, not only that, but the numbers of books that are published, you have to think about, okay, how do I fit into that picture? Who's going to find me in all of these thousands of books? And so I realized that we needed a platform. We needed a landing spot for authors to go to be promoted, to talk about their work, to get educational resources. And so right after writing my book and appearing on those podcasts, I began to podcast. I have a show called The Author's Lounge. In addition, I have a show called The Poet's Lounge. Now, the Author's Lounge, yeah, you mentioned poetry, and I just thought, oh my goodness. So, the Author's Lounge is a show where the author can showcase their work, talk about their book, what their inspiration, and how they can, you know, get how people can get their book, where it's at. It's on Amazon. It's really to boost them. They can then use that show to promote on their social media as well as on their website or wherever. But to have that digital presence, that's number one. Then I realized, okay, I need to do more. I felt like, okay, the show is good, but I need to have a magazine or something in print that highlights us collectively. And I did my first edition of BWA a year and a half ago. And so I'm happy to say that we are 18 editions in, and we just launched our website. It's amazing. Um, and so that's really how it got started. Going back to my Poets Lounge show, that show came about because there's a lot of beautiful poets out there. I used to go to poetry events in LA. They would have them like on Thursday nights, and every Thursday night, me and one of my friends, we would go place the cities like Leimert Park. I don't know if any of your viewers are familiar with Leimert Park, but it's a arts and crafty type of area. And I would always go to listen to poetry and comedy. New comics would come out. And so, or comedians. And I realized I wanted to have a poetry show because I love it so much. And so I started, hosting a poet show. I spoke to a friend of mine. His name is Bruce George. He's actually the co-founder of Def Comedy Jam with Russell Simmons. And so I talked to him about, doing this Poets Lounge. And he's like, yes, absolutely. I support you. He actually appeared on the first show, and just kind of helped me to get through it. And so just wanted to give a shout out to him. But that's really how things got started. I had some supportive people in my core circle that were pushing me to fulfill these dreams that I've had, and that I was on the track of creating something special. And so that's how I got started.
That's amazing. I think we all need someone there to support us. If Jade were here, she would be like, "Oh, how did I get involved in writing? I have a Winona."
Yes, yes,
But I would not be doing anything without a Jade to be like, "Yeah, let's keep this stable, all right? Let's keep."
yes. You
But
definitely need
so yeah,
support.
that's amazing. I think that is the key point about any creative journey is supportive people. Now,
Yes,
I heard you're a writer.
yes.
So we have talked about your books, we've talked about your podcast. I mean, we've talked about your magazine, we've talked about your podcast. But madam, we have not talked about your books. Let's hear about
We,
you and your books. How did you get
wow.
started? I mean, I heard the journaling part. Name it. What are the
Okay,
titles of the
so
books, and how did you feel after you finished your first one?
so my first book was, as I said, I wrote, it's called Daddy Issues. And I wrote that book because I had some daddy issues. I have two fathers, one of which the father that raised me has passed away. He's been gone for about 20, maybe 30 years now. But my biological father is here, but we don't have a relationship. We don't, communicate. And so I that came about. I was actually getting my hair done, and there was some other ladies, and one of the ladies the stylist that was doing my hair, she's like, "Oh, something about whatever we were talking about," and she's like, "Well, girl, I have daddy issues." And I thought, "Oh my God, so do I." And so we all kind of realized that we had these daddy issues. And so I'm sitting under the dryer, and, I just started jotting down, what my thoughts were about. Like, that was the trigger that I needed to write this book. It was something, it was in my head. I kept going back to it. And so that was my first book. Um, After that, and after, developing the podcast and going through all of that, I just began to write more books. I've written books on um, cosmetology, education, um, building your business as a stylist, what that entails if you want to own a salon, or nowadays you can own or you can rent a salon suite, which will bring your costs down. However, there's issues with that. And so I dove into that whole world just to share the knowledge that I have, and based on some of my experiences with being a salon owner, having multiple stylists in the salon, and what that dynamic entails. And that led to other books. As I was going to school, or going back to school to, get my degrees, I the writing just really developed while I was in school, because I was writing more for class, but at the same time, I enjoyed it so much. I wanted to write about things that I wanted to write about. I'm really business driven and business oriented, so I love to help people or to coach them, on building their business. There is a movement that I'm also a part of. It's called Genius is Common. And it's actually a movement from, my friend Bruce George. And what that is we all have genius mentality. We've taken the that how do I say it? The word genius, it doesn't just apply to certain people. And so it's everyone. We all have, talents that only we can do. And so that's what I realized, that I want to bring that out in people, whether it be their writing, whether it be, them always wanting to be in a magazine or on the cover of a magazine, and to exploit that, to help them to exploit, their talents and, to make money. And so then I just began to write more and more. And I have coloring books. I have, books on marketing. Again, my hairstylist book. I've written a course that's on the junior college level for cosmetology. Again, on that business part, I wrote the entire course from start to finish, and then I wrote a book that goes with that course. And so, there's, now that I'm CEO of BWA and that is expanding, I'm not able to write as many books as I would like to. But I want to say I have about 23 books on Amazon now. So, so when I get time, I can sit down and think of, what I want to write about or what I feel that people should know. But a lot of my books now are focused on education and, some form of learning.
I love that. I love that you're out here teaching people because I think
Yeah.
that they say there's three things that you do, and I forgot the third one, so I'm just going to name two, which is you either educate or entertain.
Yes.
And I feel like out of the two, you should put them together and educate in an
Yes.
entertaining way. I am not one
Yes.
of those people who educate you in an entertaining way. I just educate you.
Yes.
Actually, I don't
Wow.
educate you. My guests do. And I love that. Now, for someone
Awesome.
who's coming out here and they're like, I'd like to self-publish my book, what are the three things that they absolutely must know before they hit that publish button?
For self-publishing, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's number one, is that you need to be your own publisher of your book. One, you need to understand who needs to read your book, your market. Who are you promoting your book to? Number two, your book description, your keywords. How are people going to find your book? If you don't have the right keywords in there, which your keywords are your GPS, like you put your GPS in your car where you're going to get there, that's what your keywords are for people to find your book. Your book description is not why you wrote your book. Your book description is describing what your book is about and using those keywords to, again, connect and build on that GPS. So in essence, you are speaking to a computer. The person behind that other, on the other end, is typing in what they're looking for. So you need to find out what words that are triggers that are going to, bring your audience to you. Um, Pricing. The last one is pricing. All of this involves research. You want to look, if you're writing a book about, I don't know, going um, how to go fishing, or how to catch a certain fish, or whatever the topic is, you want to do your research and you want to look and see how many books are written on this topic. Also, you want to go on to Amazon and look at the top 5 books on Amazon on that topic and look at their descriptions, look at their keywords. One major nugget is descriptions are not copyrighted. So you can literally copy and paste someone's description where they've sold thousands of books and tweak it to your book. So now you're going to drive some of that traffic to you. And so a lot of people don't know that. I see that a lot with author submissions and their descriptions, or I can't find them on Amazon. And I have to go back and say, wait, I can't find your book. Where is it? And so there's a lot of things that can come up when you are publishing your books. But I would say that those are the top 3. When you are ready to do that, you want to think about your keywords, your book descriptions, and your pricing. You want to be competitive, but you also want to make sure that you are right alongside with other books that are doing really well. So that would be my
Thank
answer.
you.
You're
Thank you for
welcome.
those 3 points. Now,
Yes, you're
let's get
welcome.
to the point where that you're interested in. You're interested in the whole interview, I'm sure.
Yes.
But where can people find you? And what is next for you?
Wow. Okay, so people can find me again, blackwomenauthors.net. That's our website. Again, you can go there. There's multiple tabs. There's a tab for authors. If you're looking to promote your book, you can check out our author spotlights. We have articles for authors. We have book inspired articles. So that means if you purchase one of our packages, you will get not only your page on our website that promotes you and your book, but you'll also get an article that's inspired that sort of it creates a synopsis of your book, but also aids in promoting your book. We have a library in there. We have our resources. So if you need help, you need a trailer, a book trailer, or you need a book cover, whatever it is you need editing services. We do have our resource page on there where you can, fill out the little form and tell us what you need, how we can help you, and we'll get to work. So you can definitely reach out to me there. Um, Also on our Black Women Authors Facebook group. Again, there's a lot of support there from the authors. Like I said, we're almost at 15,000 followers, and it's constant. People are posting their books, they're talking about it, they're talking about their issues, whether it be writing concerns or whatnot. So you can definitely reach me that way. Email Paulette at blackwomenauthors.net if you are looking, you need some coaching. We have a lot of activities coming up. One of which we are launching a writer's course that's going to start in the spring. It'll be about 6 weeks for that course from start to finish. That gives you, tools and ideologies on writing, developing your story, developing characters, marketing. So it covers everything that I talked about today, but just in more detail, more one-on-one. And we are also this month we're launching our AI webinar series, which we are educating businesses and entrepreneurs on making America smart. So that is our slogan for this webinar series. We have a keynote speaker that is phenomenal. His name is Mike Johns, and he is on the level of marketing for, BET Awards, the Grammys, and, so his technology expertise, he is going to educate us on AI, how we can leverage AI within our businesses, within our research when we're writing books. And as I mentioned earlier, looking for books that are written similar to ours and how we can, appear in higher tiers on Amazon. So we have a lot going on with our site. It's a great place to go for support and resource.
This sounds amazing. Tell me one more time, what is that website?
It's blackwomenauthors.net.
Thank you
And
so much,
you're
Ms. Paulette,
welcome.
for being
You're
here today
welcome.
and talking to us about Black Women Authors Magazine and blackwomenauthors.net.
Yes.
So since she went ahead and wrapped up for herself, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up for us. I'm Winona from the And I Thought Ladies, and you can check out everything that your ladies are up to at www.andithoughtLadies.net. Remember that wisdom is all around you if you're open to finding it and accepting it. So peace and love, you guys, from Winona and the Missing Jade. Oh, yeah. Thanks for listening.